Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit that notification bell. You'll get all the updates. Very excited for today's beer. It is similar to beers I've had and lately had, period, but a little different. So that's what's got me excited about it. It's a collaboration beer. The main brewery is Collective Arts. They're out of Canada. I'm pretty sure I've reviewed their Life in the Clouds, which is quite good. I remember their number 5 IPA being good, and I've had other beers from them, so I definitely enjoyed that brewery. I just don't think I've reviewed a lot, and I'm not even 100% sure I've reviewed that Life in the Clouds, Head in the Clouds. I think it's Life in the Clouds. But anyway, so it's a collaboration with them out of Canada and Voodoo Brewing out of Pennsylvania. So Voodoo is another one. I shouldn't say another one. I don't think I've reviewed anything from Voodoo. And I'm not even sure I've had anything from Voodoo. So if a collab counts or not, at the end of this, I will have had a beer from Voodoo, but not really. It was brewed at Collective Arts. Let's see. It's 11.5%. It's an Imperial Stout, bourbon barrel aged. Here's the difference. 2 years. I'll keep going. Cocoa nibs and cassia bark. So it's got cocoa nibs, which I have had plenty of beers that have had that. And cassia bark is just cinnamon. And I've definitely had that as recently as this year's Bourbon County, the coffee variant. So it's Origin of Darkness. But yeah, the 2 years in barrels. I don't think I've had a lot of beers aged that long. Not to bring up Goose Island again, Bourbon County, but I have had like their rare, which was 2 years, and it was quite woody, bourbony. Especially woody, which I'm thinking this is probably going to be. Origin of Darkness, 2019 release, currently the middle of January 2020. The Origin of Darkness project is a collaborative effort with our brewing friends from around the globe. The mission, to infuse terroir into premier barrel-aged brews by including ingredients that are representative of each brewer's homeland. R. Morrow, Brewmaster. I don't know anything about either brewers or the individual head brewers or individual brewers at these breweries. I don't know anything about them. I just know I like Collective Arts artwork too, which I forgot to mention. They have different artists for different labels. It's really cool. Pro artwork, which I like. Actually, this artwork's pretty cool. If it doesn't show up well, definitely check it out. It's cool. But anyway, Cassia Bark's from Asia, so I don't know if Voodoo is like an Asian American who's a brewer there, or Collective Arts, or if I just misunderstand what you mean by where the brewers are from. But a Canadian and a Pennsylvania brewery, like yeah, cocoa nibs are from the Americas, but Cassia's from Asia, so that's me making an assumption. Short version, I think that's really cool. Like they want to have a global theme with this series. So if they're working with someone from Africa, have African ingredients is cool, Europe, etc. Like that's a really cool idea. I just don't know I guess it's because it does say brewer, not brewery. So anyway, me making assumptions, over explaining things. Probably not why you came. Probably came to see what I think about this liquid in the glass. All right. Like I said, 11.5%. Jeez. This is annoying. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it's very light black. Not much brown to be found in the actual beer, so I'm going to say it's a very light black on my end. You might be seeing something different way the lighting is. That's exactly one of my fingers of head. It is a beautiful mocha, tiny bubbles and small bubbles. It's a mixture of those two things. Man, yeah. Something about this glass where the bubbles come back despite getting rid of them. But yeah, beautiful looking beer. See about the aroma. So, this beautiful, sweet cinnamon. And I love cinnamon. I've had, actually a decent number of cinnamon, or beers that have cinnamon in them. That for my palate, it's too much cinnamon. I've been on a pretty good streak lately that if cinnamon's in a beer, I don't think it's too much. That smells like it's a very sweet, soft cinnamon, not unlike something like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You got that sweetness. There's some chocolate, and I swear there's a little bit of like vanilla in there. But it's probably just from the 2 years of being in the barrels and getting some of that vanilla in. But like I swear there's some vanilla. It almost smells like if you mix cinnamon into like a brownie batter, because it has that chocolate and it has, again, I guess just that sweetness, and it must be, for me, it doesn't take much, just chocolate and sweetness to maybe think of brownies, but that cinnamon's so nice. I will say this, I think, although I wouldn't have initially said the cinnamon's overpowering, that cinnamon being in here is making it hard to pick up like actual beer characteristics. Like I'm sure if I had, doing a side by side, just the base stout, no barrel aging, no adjuncts, obviously I would get, what that stout smells like. I'm having a hard time in this because of that cinnamon. I think the chocolate I'm getting through probably, has some to play with the actual stout, but a lot of it is the addition of that adjunct. And then again, that vanilla I'm sure is also from the barrel adjunct. So yeah, it's about all I get. It is a very good aroma, I will say that. But I do wish I got a little bit more of the beer itself in here. See how it tastes. Cheers. I like that, and you know what? And it is different. And sorry, I've said this before in other videos, like, and it comes and goes. But right now, I'm definitely like, I like the idea of having things that are different. You have, 30 different New England style IPAs in a row. The other differences, obviously, but there's enough similarities where it can get kind of old. Especially from a reviewing point of view, like, oh yeah, it tastes like citrus and it has a good mouth, it can get old. So this does have a little bit more of a wood character than I've been getting out of bourbon barrel aged beers. So it definitely shows that it's been in a barrel longer. It is not straight up just like wood, or like there was wood chips in the bottle or something, like it really was pulling that wood, but there is noticeably more wood than typical with this, imperial stout aged in bourbon barrel kind of a thing. The cinnamon, like the aroma, or even maybe less than the aroma, is definitely there. It's pleasant. It's coming across relatively sweetly. It's working with the chocolate. I do get a little bit of the actual stout and stouty characteristics, so that's good since I didn't get that in the aroma. I was definitely hoping I'd get that in the taste, and I do. I've been talking for a while. Let me take another swig. And I am getting some of that vanilla, so it has to be from the barrel. So I'm glad I'm tasting it just like I got that in the aroma. I think that the sweetness I mentioned in the aroma, it's about the exact same level in the taste. Like it translates, it's not like shockingly more or less. It's like, yeah, there's enough sweetness there for sure. The addition of the cacao nibs, even though it is a sweeter beer, and again, not like pastry style, I'm not saying that level, but sweeter, it's on the sweeter side, it's still making it dark chocolate. The aftertaste is very, like if you had a dark chocolate that was filled with some sort of liqueur, a decent ratio chocolate versus not as much of the liqueur, but there's a little bit of warmth, a little bit of booze, but it's definitely this almost like cocoa powder intensity, which I love. So that's a good thing with this beer. So short version, the cinnamon's where I want it. The cacao nibs doing their things, also where I want it. I am getting some of the actual stout. Maybe a hair more roastiness would be cool, to even further help offset the sweetness of it. Maybe that would conflict too much. I don't know. It is a really good beer. That again, the additional wood, I get that, but I would think too, like maybe I'd get a little bit more of the bourbon taste, and I don't get a disproportionate addition of bourbon taste from something that maybe was like 8 months or a year. Let me do one more swig and see if I still think that's true. Like, well, I'm only looking for that. yeah, it's there. I don't know if it's any more for the extra aging. I mean, I mean, maybe that makes sense. Like, you know, if you're gonna have something like vanilla beans and they're put in alcohol, right? Because alcohol takes those flavors on quickly and powerfully, right? So maybe when you put the beer into a barrel, maybe it pulls the spirit notes relatively quickly, and the longer you leave it in there, it's going to get as much of that as it possibly can. Then it's done, right? There's no more to get, and that's when it starts pulling more wood notes out. So that might explain it, but I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud. Little bit of, it probably is not showing up on camera because there's just a little bit of like particulates on the glass, which is nice. So I'm sure some of the maybe cocoa nibs made it through the filtration process. So maybe that also helps explain why I was getting the burst of like cocoa powder, really like that intense of a beer. But again, trying to keep it short. I do quite like this. It was $15. I mean, I get it. 2 years sitting there, it's a long time. You got to actually brew the beer. You have the adjuncts. You got to get the barrels. You let it just sit, and you got to do the temperature and the room it's sitting in, and blah, 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 blah. So I get the $15 price tag. In the world of, imperial stouts that are barrel aged with adjuncts, it's a fair price, I think. I mean, I'd always take a cheaper price, obviously, but I don't feel, mad that I spent $15 on this. I'm really going to enjoy sipping on this. It's relatively early afternoon. I don't have anything to do the rest of the day, so it'd be nice to just kind of sip this as I'm doing different, leisurely activities. What are some of your favorite leisurely activities? Prove that you watched it this far into the video, and in the comment section, tell me some of the leisurely activities that you like to do. Read, watch movies, binge watch, I don't know, Saved by the Bell. I don't know. What do you do? What do people who watch, if you want to watch these videos, what kind of person are you? Let me know. What are you into? Let's see, what else should I say? I guess just my normal outro. Thanks for watching. I always appreciate it. Check me out on Instagram on Tapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So always please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.